Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new to my channel, my name's Brittany, and definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button for me. Before we dive into our topic for today, I just want to let everybody know about a Halloween giveaway. So I do this every single year, and this year's no different. So if you win, you will get a shirt along with some other things. And all you have to do to enter is like this video, make sure you're subscribed to my channel, and comment down below what you're going to be for Halloween if you are going to be anything. So it's simple, quick, easy. With that being said, we're going to dive straight in to the topic. So most kids, or I don't know most, but a good chunk of kids have imaginary friends growing up. I had an imaginary friend. Her name was Bonjour. I have mentioned her on my channel before. I don't think that's actually her name because I didn't realize that Bonjour meant hello and goodbye in French. And I started talking to her before I had started school. So there was no way that I even knew this word. And she was incredibly real to me. She had to have a place at the table with a plate and food. And eventually I got to a point where my mom was like, yeah, I'm not setting a plate for her. But my mom bought me this big doll to become Bonjour. So then it didn't just look like I was talking to air when people would come over. So it was kind of a way of the doll, or her being able to, I guess, be with the doll. I don't ever think she actually inhabited the doll. Okay. So eventually I stopped saying Bonjour, but I would assume that she was more so just this French spirit who didn't really speak much English, and I didn't speak French, so I probably asked what her name was, and she probably, or the first word she said to me was Bonjour, and I was just like, oh, that must be your name. So I theorized that imaginary friends are actually spirits because children are much more in tune with the paranormal because they don't have all of the world telling them that these things don't exist. Even if you believe that these things do exist, because you're constantly hearing, like, when you have an encounter, you're constantly hearing, no, like, it must be in your head, or things like that, there is that little piece of doubt in your mind, and you do start second guessing things. But because children don't have that, they just, like, they see and everything, that they're able to see spirits so clearly. We're going to dive into some real imaginary friend encounters that will make you feel a little eerie and make you wonder what they were actually seeing. So the first one, when I was 4 years old, my mom and I moved into a large colonial house that was built in the late 1800s. My mom always had a weird feeling about this house. There was a little bricked off section in the basement, and we never really knew why it was there. Told me that soon after we moved out, I suddenly had an imaginary friend. One day, out of the blue, I told her that I had been playing with a little girl named Jenny. She thought that it was just a phase and didn't pay much attention to it. I told her that Jenny wanted me to let the cat go down into the basement so that she could play with it. My mother allowed me to let the cat go down there, but it never came back, and that creeped her out. That would creep me up too, not gonna lie. Honestly though, if my kid was like, Jenny wants to play with the cat, I would be like, Jenny can play with the cat up here. Like, then a few years later, I told her that Jenny wanted me to go down in the basement and play with her. My mother refused and told me to go upstairs to bed. I I did, and when I woke up the next morning, I had deep scratches on my back and my legs. My mom decided to research the history of the house, and she found an old picture of the house and the family who used to live there. She showed me the picture and asked if I recognized any of them. There were 7 little girls in the picture, and without hesitation, I pointed to one of them. The names of all the family members were written on the back, and the girl I had pointed to was named Jenny. My mother got scared because during her research, she found out the girl that was named Jenny had gone into the basement one day, and the family never found her, and they moved shortly after that. After I had identified the girl in the picture, it was all way too much, and we moved out of the house and found somewhere else to live. So, I think that whatever took Jenny was obviously demonic. Like, it was a non-human spirit who, hurt this little girl. And I think because, children are much easier to trust, that this demonic being took shape of Jenny, the real Jenny, to kind of lure this little girl into the same fate that Jenny faced. Or that creature could be making Jenny's spirit lure the little girl, even if Jenny doesn't want to. So the next one. When I was growing up, there was a girl in my neighborhood who was strange. All of the other kids were freaked out by her. One day, she told all of the kids that in a forest behind her house, there were dead, bloody people. When they heard this, all of the kids freaked out and told their parents, which makes sense. I would probably go and tell my parents if somebody told me that. Their fathers had to go out and search the forest, just in case, you never know. All they found were candy wrappers and empty beer bottles. After that, all of the kids in the neighborhood refused to go near her, including me. A few years later, my parents divorced, and on the day the moving came to take my mom's things out of the house, the girl came out of nowhere and told me that Matt didn't like that my parents were getting divorced. I had no idea who Matt was. Even though I stopped being friends with her, my dad was still friends with her parents. My dad told me that Matt was her imaginary friend. Her parents had told him all of the problems they were having. Matt was often too physical. They said that Matt could control the lights and could even make the power go out. They said Matt also knocked on doors at night, and if he was ignored, that he would start banging on the doors. A few years later, my dad decided that he would invite the girl and her parents over to our house. I was begging my dad not to do this, but he said it would be nice to catch up with them. When they came over that night, my dad told me to entertain the girl. I brought her up to my bedroom and she seemed to be acting normal. She even told me how nice my room was. However, I was still creeped out by her. She just sat down in the middle of the floor while I tried to put a movie on the DVD player. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, in the most deadpan voice, she said, "Matt's here." At that exact moment, the lights began to flicker on and off. I got so scared, I ran out of my room crying in fear. Her parents came running up the stairs, dragging their daughter out of my room and took her home. For weeks after, I refused to sleep in my bedroom. I haven't heard much from that family ever since then. I heard that Matt still controlled the lights, but I don't know if he is still around. To this day, whenever the lights began flickering or a bulb blows, it still freaks me out. So I'm curious if Matt was one of the kids. It definitely seems like kids were being hurt in that forest, like lured to that forest between the candy wrappers and the beer bottles. I wouldn't allow my kids to step foot in that forest if I was finding a mix of that and with the girl's story. Let me know what you guys think. The next one. My boyfriend is a homicide detective, and a couple of years ago, he was investigating the murder of a little boy. They still hadn't found the body. The mother of the little boy broke down and admitted that she had killed him and hid his body under the old trailer. When the police went out to search the trailer, they found there was a new family living in it. The family said their son had an imaginary friend who lived under the trailer and would come up to see him. The cops found the body of the dead boy just under his room. That is heartbreaking. One, I don't understand how you could ever hurt a kid, let alone your own kid. But it's almost like the little boy was trying to tell the other little boy, like, hey, this is where I am. Hopefully he got peace after that. The next one. When my daughter was 3, she had an imaginary friend named Kelly who lived in her closet. Oh my gosh, closets. I hate closets. She said Kelly played with her and sat in a little rocking chair while she slept. Ugh. 2 years later, we were watching a horror movie and my daughter said, "That looks like Kelly." "Kelly who?" I asked. "You know Kelly?" she replied. The dead girl that lived in my closet." My jaw would drop to the floor if Sebastian said that to me. Yeah. I've always hated closets. Like, I mean, I want a walk-in closet. You know, who doesn't want a walk-in closet? But closets at night, I used to always have my mom check my closets. I was deeply afraid of closets, and I was afraid of under my bed. Always. And I had to have the bathroom light on to shine so I could see into the hallway. That was an every night thing. My mom had to tell me that nothing was going to hurt me. And I don't know, I was just so paranoid of that. But I wouldn't like that. The next one. When I was a kid, we often went camping on Lake Briere in New Hampshire. One day, when I was 6 years old, I fell off the dock and plunged into the water. I couldn't swim. While I was underwater, I distinctly remember seeing a little girl down there who told me to look up towards the sun and just keep kicking, and I'd be fine. I swam to the surface just in time for my grandfather to grab me and pull me back on the dock. I found out later that the little girl had drowned in that lake near that very same spot. It's really sad that her spirit is still there, or was still there. I don't know if it's still there, but the fact that she saved him is incredible. If you have an imaginary friend experience or a ghost encounter, a spiritual encounter, I would love to hear it. And I actually have an email where you can send them, and if you send them to me and you're comfortable with me sharing, you can add that and I will share them on my channel. If you want to, go ahead and email me them. Go ahead and email me.
Going back.
Sebastian has dirt all over his face. You're playing outside in the dirt? Yeah?
That and then a good tissue.
Yeah, it was also dirty.
Hit down, make a broken. Grind up, tickle.
Okay.
And hit down, make bucking.
Also remember, if you guys want to enter the giveaway,
A good geek that way.
hit the like button,
And
make sure you're subscribed, and comment down below what you're going to be for Halloween.
9, broken 9,
Okay. What are you going to be for Halloween?
And a turtle.
A Ninja Turtle.
And
And until next time, I love you guys. Bye. Say bye.